Welcome to Simply Fujica, a place for budding and aspiring entrepreneurs. I do want to welcome you to the channel. If this is your first time stopping by, I definitely want to say thank you. And you have come across a channel that is all things home care. If you recall, last week we talked about 5 obstacles, 5 challenges that our home care agencies are facing. So today is going to be part 2 of that, where I give you another 5 obstacles that home care agencies are currently facing. I also want to remind you that I did make the announcement last week that I am having my one, and I guess only, webinar this year. This year we are talking about Home Care 101. So I'm taking you back through the basics. I am going to walk you through a checklist of what are the basic elements you need to start your agency. So we're not talking about licensing here, but we're talking about everything else. How do you hire? Where are you going to recruit? Have you started your LLC? What does your branding look like? What does your logo look like? All of those functions, all of those tasks that will amount to you launching your home care agency. The link is in the video description, and I hope to see you there on October 19th. So with that being said, let's get started. The 6th challenge that I have for you today: technological adaptation. And what I really want to point out here is these are more our caregivers who have been doing this for a while, right? So when they started, they probably weren't clocking in from their cell phones, right? They probably weren't taking notes on a software. And so we have to be mindful of that. People that bring you that great experience but may be trying to catch up on the technological side. So again, this is where we can, you've heard me talk about caregiver teams. This is where maybe another peer or someone who is in charge of training can set that person aside, really just create a session for the two of you to bond and make sure that any questions that that caregiver has regarding technology is answered. And also there's an opportunity for you all to share experiences. What is this person facing? What are they having a hard time with? And this way you can help them through that hump as it relates to technology. The 7th challenge that I have for you is recognition and appreciation. It's no secret that caregivers typically feel underappreciated and undervalued. And this is something where you and your agency can certainly make a difference. So your solution for that is making sure that you are cultivating an agency where you're constantly giving that person positive feedback. You're recognizing if a person's working hard, they're taking on extra shifts, their clients are always satisfied. Recognize them for that. Even if it's just having that conversation: Fujica, I've noticed you've taken up 2 extra shifts this week. I really want to take the time to thank you. Some of the feedback that I received from some of my agency owners is, you know what, I'm a startup. I really just don't have the funds in order to have a grand recognition program. And that's okay. Really come up with different ways that you can recognize your caregivers until that time where you're able to scale a little bit and then invest more monies into your recognition program. But remember, recognition and making someone feel appreciated also goes beyond the grand things, right? There's going to be a time where potentially there should be opportunities for your caregivers to advance. A lot of times caregivers like to see those promotions from within so that they too know that they are working towards something. So remember, think of all of those things that you can do to make a person feel better about their job, working for your agency, and ultimately making the decision to give 110% every day. The 9th challenge that I'm seeing a lot of, or a lot of caregivers are talking about, is really the lack of diversity and inclusion. It's really up to you as the home care agency owner to ensure that you're fostering diversity, that you're embracing differences, and really that everyone is appreciated for what they bring to the table. Remember, you set the tone to your agency, and that includes the culture of it. The 9th challenge that I want to discuss with you is partnering with other educational institutions. Now, I have heard that there is really a disconnect between the caregiving education that they're receiving and then the home care setting. And so some of you can really work with, especially if you have graduated from a caregiver program or caregiver education, maybe you went to a nursing school or things of that nature, really partnering with them to ensure that the educational institution understands the importance of having some type of clinical or rotation at the home, in the home care setting. Because this industry is just growing, the needs continue to grow in leaps and bounds. Your graduates have some experience into that before they graduate, so they can really look and feel as to what type of support that client needs in their home, in the safety of their own home. The second piece of that is you may be able to work out some type of partnership with that education institution to where some of the caregivers can come do rotations at your home care agency. Maybe you can set up to where as people graduate that your home care agency is an employer of choice for these new graduates. Really, the possibilities are endless. It's up to you to execute some of these ideas to set your home care agency apart from the rest. So we have come to the end of the video. I have one last tip for you. If you have liked what you heard so far, I would appreciate you liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and then hitting that bell notification so that you're notified every time I release a new video. So the last tip that I have for you today is not securing clients. So you all have seen me do, and I'll probably put a couple in the video description for you, but you have seen me do a couple of videos on how do you attract clients, how do you market, how do you brand your home care agency. But none of that means anything if you're not executing whatever it is that your plan is to acquire those clients. When I talk about a fear of success, sometimes some of us, and I've done it myself too, you get to a point where you get right up until you get ready to launch, and then you pull back a little bit. And you all know what I mean when I say that. You're fearful of what's next. You have a fear of the unknown. You never will cross that finish line if you're afraid to even start. So if you are licensed by now, if you have been licensed already for some time, but you know that you are not doing everything that you can to get the client, give yourself a pep talk, get your plan together, and execute your plan. Your clients are waiting for you, okay? You can do it, okay? Now, I will tell you, some of the reasons that I'm hearing why people are fearful: you don't know what's going to happen, you're afraid you're not going to get any clients, you don't know what to charge. Listen, I can tell you, when I was a new business owner, I made tons of mistakes. However, I'm here to tell you the story about it, right? So since then, I've grown. Since then, I've matured as a business owner. You will do the same. However, you have to give yourself a chance. Okay, so that is all that I have. I really hope you all enjoyed this video. I am so excited to share that I have published my first book, Goodnight Boo. Goodnight Boo is not only a dream come true, but it's essentially a love letter to my first child. It's really talking about the joys of wanting to have a child and finally having that child. So I really do think this is something that all mothers can relate to. We certainly love our babies. We want the best for our babies, and this book celebrates that. So if you would like to support me and purchase a copy of the book, the link is in the description. As always, I want to thank you for your support.